In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take the default Yii2 basic template login system, which uses hard-coded users in the User.php model, and convert it into a real database-driven authentication system. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to log in with actual users stored in your database, making your Yii2 application production ready. So let's dive into it. So we have our basic template set up, and you can see we have the users defined inside the User.php model. So just to find the User.php model, if you go to the directory called models and you go to the User.php, you'll find users here. We have private static and then users. So here is just an array of users that have been hard-coded inside our code, or let's say inside our basic template. And the first user is admin, the second user is demo. So we are supposed to change this User.php model to use authentication from the database. The users should be loaded from the database. So in the advanced template for Yii2, this feature has already been implemented there. So instead of just creating it from scratch, we are going to borrow the code from the advanced template and then paste it here. So if you head into advanced template, which I've just opened it inside the new VS Code tab, we will find the User.php model inside common, and then under the models we have User.php. So what you're going to do is just select everything here and then Control A and then Control C, which is copying everything, and then head back inside your basic template and then select everything inside your basic template and paste our code that we've just copied from the advanced template. So the next thing you need to do is to copy the migration files that are used to create the user table and also the required columns. So head back to your advanced template, and then you'll find them inside console directory, and then inside migrations you'll find two files. So the first one is to create the users table, and the second one is just adding a new column inside our user table. So what we're going to do is just copy the whole directory. Since we need everything there, I'll just copy this directory and then head back into your basic template, and then in the root folder, in the root of your project, just paste the migrations file directory, migrations directory. So the next thing is to just create a database that will connect to our basic template. So if you go to the configuration for our database, we have these configurations here. So I'll just use the default configurations or credentials. So DB name will be Yii2 basic, and username is root and password is root. Yeah, since I'm using XAMPP. So if I go to my XAMPP and then admin, I'll just create a new database here and name it as Yii2 basic, then create. So after that, we need, if you go back to our basic template, the next thing we need to do is to run the migration so that you can create the table, the user table. So just open the terminal and then type phpMyAdmin, then yes. And now we're being told that two migrations were applied. So if you go back into our database, if we just refresh, you can see we have two tables here. One is the user table and the other one is migrations table. So this is the one that we're interested in, meaning our application has connected successfully with our database. So the next thing we need to do is to create a user, that we're going to test this login. So I have my code here that we're going to use for the seeding of the user. So I'll just copy this and then go back to my basic template, and then we'll create a new migration file for the seeding of the user. So I'll just type phpMyAdmin, then create, then not seeding. The name of the file will be seed user table. And now inside the migrations directory, you can see we have a new file created. So what I'm going to do is to just replace the public safe up and safe down with our code. So just to explain what is going on inside this code that I've just pasted, we are just defining the username, which is test user. Our email is testuser@gmail.com. Password is the same as the username. Password hash, we are just hashing our password, which is the same as the username. Then authentication key is just a random string that is required there, and then the status will be 10. This 10 means that the user is active. If it is 9, it means the user is inactive. So after defining all the parameters, we are just now inserting the user inside the database. And this is how we insert the user inside our user table. So after doing that, the next thing we need to do is just to run the migration again. So it will be php Yii migrate, and if we press enter, we are being told that one migration was applied. So if you go back inside our database, if you go to the user table, you can see we have a new user, which the username is test user and the status is 10. So just to test if this user can log in, let's just go back into our basic template and then try to log in. So if I just try to use the new user, which is test user, and then the password was test user, then press enter, and there's one thing we missed to change. If we go back inside our basic template, there's one thing I just forgot to change. If we go to our user.php model, I had not changed the namespace. It was using the one from the advanced template, but now we are using the basic template, so our namespace will change from common to app, then models. So that's what you need to do. And then let's just refresh our page, and we have successfully logged in. So you can just log out and then try to log in again. Our username was test user, and then password was test, and we have logged in successfully. So that's how we convert our basic template to use database for user authentication. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.